Parvaaz. How did you get into the band?
Khalid called me up one day and out of the blue. Uh, and he was just like, "Hey, bro, how's it going? Like, long time. Like, I'm doing good." Like, he said that we are looking for like a new guitar player. Like, would you be interested?
So, any timelines of when the album is going to be released?
Don't hold me responsible, guys. Soon.
Hey guys, welcome to the Art and Culture Tribe. I hope you guys are doing well. Today we have an amazing guitarist. He plays along with Cinema of Axis and Parvaaz and many other bands. You want to know who it is? Let's check it out. So let's welcome Bharath Kashyap.
Hello, namaskara.
Hello Bharath, how are you?
I'm doing good, Dinkar. How are you doing?
Very good. How have you been? What's happening with you?
I've been good. It's been so long since I've seen you. A lot of things have been happening, and I'm excited to tell you all about it. I just don't know where to start.
Cool. Okay, so let's start with understanding what made you get into music.
I've always been into music, like from like from the longest time that I remember. Um, my mom used to like sing a lot when she was pregnant with me, apparently, and then when I was born, like there was music all around. This is what she's told me.
Okay.
So from the time I remember, music's just been a thing, and I pretty like very interested in it, and like just like got into it like very easily. It felt like it almost felt as easy as like just doing any other thing like breathing or something, because I was exposed to it for so long. So yeah, I guess like that's kind of how I from what I know, I've always been into it. I just don't know how I got into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was your mom into music? When I say that, was she, a singer or trained singer or something like that, or it was just a hobby that she was doing?
I don't think she was trained in any way, but she comes from a super talented family of all musicians.
Amazing.
And um, it's just in their genes, and I feel like that's how I got it from my
Okay.
mom's side. I also have these like very early memories of when she used to take me to her place like every summer. This is in Shirsi, Karnataka. And most evenings, like the everybody in the it's a joint family, like few houses put together. Everybody used to get together in one house and just sing bhajans for hours. There was no TV, like no cable also over there. Like there was Doordarshan maybe, and it's one of those like really remote places. So all you had to do was just like things like this, and I remember like listening to like my uncles and all the relatives there singing and like playing instruments. There was a whole family band of
Okay.
sorts. So it was a very like a community thing, music over
So
there.
music was all around you.
Yeah. And that like every summer I really used to look forward to going there because I just wanted to be a part of it. Just like trying to play the tabla there or just trying to hit the keys of a harmonium or like you know and they used to give me like they had this like little thing, I don't know what it's called. It's a ching 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 thing that goes basically and it's like do this on time and
The talam, basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. But yes, so they used to give you all these like little things to do and it was very fun for me. And yeah, it's like a game more or less.
So, getting into full time as a musician was easy for you, if I'm not wrong, or was it? Did you have to convince your parents?
Kind of, yes. Like that goes without saying. Like, not every parent, I mean, some of them are super supportive, but initially, not everybody is like thrilled by the idea that, hey, ma, I want to, you know, make music and, dabble in this world where we don't have fixed income. And, obviously, it was not like a great first conversation. But as like when I was doing my college, this was during my degree, I think I was already in a band, and at that point like we were doing like quite a few shows actually, and we're making whatever little from the shows that we won, the competitions that we won or something. And because we were already playing a lot of shows, like we started coming out in newspapers. And my mom started seeing that, all my parents started seeing that, and my all my cousins, my father's side of the cousins family, like they all started seeing this, and like they started saying like maybe you should like let him do this, because there is no musician like in our family. Everything, everybody is there, but I think you should just they also like helped in just not really convincing my parents, but then like just encouraging them to let me take this path.
How old were you back then? I mean, when you told me that you would, go for competitions and stuff like that.
This was, let's see, started playing when I was in 2010. So this was between 2012 to 14, 15, because 2015 is when I graduated. So yeah, it was around then, during my college, when I
Okay.
was doing this.
Okay. So how did you pick up the guitar? What made you inclined to that?
Metallica, man. I think one of my friends, when we were exchanging music, there were these two tracks. One was unnamed, the other one was called Master of Puppets. And the unnamed one was this live recording of this like 10-minute guitar solo. And the other, Master of Puppets, of course. When I listened to it, I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, how is he playing it like this? So like that kind of got me into like music. Before that, like let me just say, like before Master of Puppets, like I didn't really know any bands, or like the only music I knew were like mostly like some sort of like bhajans and like Bollywood stuff, and all the Indian music. My first introduction to like Western music and guitar music was Linkin Park, then was Master of Puppets.
Okay.
But like that really blew my mind, and it opened the door into like this guitar world, and like, oh, this kind of music exists. And yeah, I still remember the first time I saw a live video of like Linkin Park, and people were jumping on stage and like going all crazy.
Yeah.
And it was like very fascinating to me. I started giggling immediately. I was like, haha, why are these guys acting like this? Because I didn't understand. Because I was also very young, right? So but then hey, maybe a little guilty of doing that. you know yeah, now I do. Now I understand why people do that.
Yeah. Which was your first guitar?
My first guitar was a GBNA acoustic guitar, which I still have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you self-taught?
Mostly yes. Meaning like I did sign up for classes.
Okay.
And I did go for like about a month or so. But then I wasn't really interested in the direction that he wanted me to go in.
Okay.
I just wanted to learn Metallica. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to try to do this myself. And I used to listen to a lot anyway. And the day I got it also, I just tried like, okay, this kind of sounds like it. This kind of sounds like that. So slowly just started like figuring out like, because I got very curious and I used to spend a lot of time trying to figure things out. And I enjoyed that more than like going to classes and like, learning scales.
Okay.
Yeah.
So during that time, I don't. Yes, YouTube was there, but were there a lot of tutorials on guitars that back then? I don't. I'm not sure.
I think there was like a fair amount of tutorials, but like the problem was like I didn't have a fast enough like broadband connection to like see these things initially, like in the first few years. So I relied a lot on tabs. I learned how to read tabs. So I used to find these things on like these ultimate guitar tabs or
Oh
something.
yeah, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. So they were like, most of these were like wrong like tabs, but still there was some direction to go in. So I kind of got onto that first, and then yes, like once internet was like more accessible, like yeah.
I remember the website where we would go and at least to try and find out the chords. And
Yeah.
sometimes you play it and you're like, okay, these are the chords. It makes sense, but it does not make complete sense.
Yeah.
Something is missing out. I think I can understand that. And you also play the electric. What do you like? In both of them, how different it is for you when you pick up the acoustic and the electric.
It's the style I play, I think, is when I pick up the acoustic, uh, the sounds that inspire me, or the sounds that I want to create when I hold the acoustic, is like, I feel like it's very different because of like the kind of things that I've picked up over the years. I'm really into fingerstyle
Hmm.
kind of guitar playing, and I immediately just start like playing some chords and melodies together, which doesn't usually happen when I pick up the electric guitar. There, like, I don't know, there is this personality switch that happens.
Hmm.
And because of all the different sounds that's available, like accessible through the electric guitar, um, like the way I play gets influenced by like how the guitar is responding and what's coming out of it
Hmm.
sometimes. It's different. I love both, and I feel like I'm lucky enough to like enjoy the best of both worlds right now, because it's in like, it's not the same. And yeah, it's just two very different things, man.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love both. It's like two very different vibes.
Okay. And when you got hold of the guitar, what was your practice like? How many hours would you practice?
Oh, jeez. Initially, Dinkar, it used to be like pretty crazy, man. I was obsessed. I used to play like 8-10 hour days for like a long time. And I picked this up when I got to 11th.
Hmm.
So that was 11th, 12th, and like 3 years of BCom, like college time. So I think that was like the golden years of like practicing. There were times during my like college days where like one day I'll wake up and go like, I don't feel like going to college today. Let's play. And I'll just sit and play songs. Like, or I'll learn all my favorite songs and just try to play them. And most of the time, we'll go in trying to catch up with it.
Hmm.
Like, okay, I need to play this better. Like, next time I repeat this, I can't play this fast enough. Like, practice this. So it was just that. I had a set list for every day, and these are the songs, and just go one after the other. Okay, next song, next song, next song, let's go. And that was just like fun for me. So initially, yeah, it was brutal, but I really enjoyed it.
Okay. And back then, you started composing your own melodies during those time.
I think so. Don't really remember much. Didn't really have the habit of like, now I can just like pull out the phone, record,
Hmm.
whatever, you get an idea. That wasn't there. It was for me like more of a fun thing. I just want to play. Like, I don't care. I
Got
just
it.
want to play. Yeah, that's it. Sometimes, sure, yeah, I'm just messing around. Like, of course, when I'm like playing all these songs, sometimes when I can't play a part like the way the composer intended it to be, I would just change it. And like that, I guess that was like um you know first try on composing something or
Hmm.
improvising something, where I'm just changing it because I can't play the actual thing.
When you sit for composing your own stuff, this is something that is not related to any bands that you work with,
Hmm.
just your own stuff. Uh, how what is the process like? Sometimes you listen to something and you're like, okay, this is a good song. Can I build something on that? Or what is your approach when you sit for composing your own stuff?
My own
Your
stuff.
own stuff.
So this is my own stuff primarily right now, would be like me with an acoustic guitar.
Hmm.
um it's different every time. There have been times where I've just sat down and I just start playing something and something clicks, and that'll take me towards the rest of the song. A
Hmm.
song like story just begins there, totally unplanned. And in my experience, those have been like some of the best songs, like in my opinion. Like, I really enjoy like playing them. And then there have been times where I've written something, and like it starts with a riff, but then the riff just sits for a very long time until like the idea comes like for me to continue it. um so there is no set process of sorts. But I would say like melody is something that really is like, you know, if the song has a good melody, I try to follow the melody and like as like a singer and see, okay, from this section, if I were to sing it, where would I go next? In my head. Like that's usually like my process.
Okay.
Think like a singer and like think like a band, especially when I'm doing like fingerstyle arrangements and stuff. Um, so yeah, I guess that's kind of my process. I let it sit in my head and see where
Okay.
it goes, see where it takes me.
You are also a guitar tutor, and since you pretty much learned things on your own, that is listening to other bands and stuff like that, how do you teach your students? What is your process when you teach the students?
Well, for all the level 1 students who are just starting out, there is a small module that I've made, which I follow to start you off with. But I think like 60 to 70% of the students that I get now, they come to me with like a very specific request. Like,
Okay.
I want to learn this. I want to learn like blues. I want to learn how to improvise. So for these guys, I usually I have a like introductory session first. Like I meet them and I talk to them and figure out what their interests are and like see what they already know and like talk to them about their like short-term goals, long-term goals in terms of what you want to achieve. Like, why are you here? How can I help you? Tell me. And once they give me a few topics, I will just maybe take a few days and there are a few like set modules that I've already done, like for certain things. And like depending on what they want to do, like we will start heading towards that goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as we discussed earlier, you do online classes. Okay. Do you prefer online or, the student being right in front of you? And what is your take on that?
Well, it has its pros and cons. Well, the student being in front of you, of course, there is nothing like real time jamming and like actually playing with your student. But I feel like everything else can be done online. And even like there are like some hacks where you can still kind of play with your student. Like you can record a video of yourself playing and and over a click or whatever. So even if it's a long video, but like whatever you got to do to make sure the student gets it and student understands. So I do things like I record a video of me playing a certain part, and sometimes I loop it like 8 to 10 times in the video, and I share it with them, and I ask them to play along with me. And like that helps. Like I'm watching them like play along with like a recorded track. It's still like you are supposed to listen to what's going on and catch the beat and play. But that's still like it's not the same thing. But what's nice about this is it's making me think, how can I make this person understand it? Like this is the medium I have, how can I make this work? So try to find new ways, man.
Correct.
Like metronome usually is like the thing that helps to make sure like the student is like playing on time, and you just got to find creative ways to introduce it during online sessions, and I think it works great. And it's amazing for like let's say if you have to like share notes and stuff. I already have all PDFs. I just share my screen and like send them a copy, and it's done. I don't need to like write down and like explain all that stuff. And with video like help, you can explain things even better sometimes. Share songs and show them stuff like here. So
Okay.
pros and cons.
Yeah. Do parents get involved in the progress of the student?
Not really.
Okay.
Except one of my students though, where well, it's two of them technically. It's a father and daughter duo. They're super cute. Like that's the only way they get involved, because the father's also learning.
Okay.
But otherwise, no, they don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now coming to one of the bands that you've performed with, Cinema of Excess, right? First of all, crazy name.
Thank you.
And how did you guys, come together as a band?
Well, speaking of teaching, I used to teach at Artista Academy of Music. And that's where I met Anirudh, like my bandmate in Cinema of Excess. when we met initially, I think he's still teaching there, and like we one day we were just like talking, and we figured out we kind of listen to the same kind of music, and we have very similar tastes and similar outlook on like a lot of things in life. So he invited me over. He's like, hey, you want to come chill? You want to just hang here? I have a dog. I was like, okay, great. I love dogs. So we were just like chilling with a few friends, and then like he had his guitar there. I also had my guitar, and he was showing me some of the things that he was trying to write, and I was showing him some of the things that I was trying to write at that point. And he asked, like, "Yeah, do you want to just like jam along on this and see where we go with this?" And that was Wide Awake. That's the first song that we wrote. And after that session, we were just like, "Wow, dude, that felt really good." And that's it. So we just went home and like we repeated the same thing like the next weekend, and I think we wrote "Bring Back the Sound," and that's kind of when we were just like, I think we should like show me a few more songs. What else do you have? And we sat, we wrote. We had like a bunch of songs. I think like before we did that first gig. I think that was in Double O Heaven, the first time we ever played as a duo.
Really, I have a memory that you guys performed in B flat. That's what I think so. I'm not sure, but you
I
will learn better.
I also don't. No, I think that was the first ever time like Ani and I we performed together. I will tell you a story about that day
Okay.
though. We had about 7 to 8 songs written, and I think we needed about 30-minute material
Yeah.
that for that gig,
Yeah.
and I was sick that gig. I felt sick like on that day. So and that was our first ever gig. So we came like it was raining and all, I think, and we just somehow like we pulled it off. And one of our friends, he recorded the gig for us. And later when we were like listening to it, we were just like, okay, like these parts are nice. This is like awesome. And yeah, it was just a duo until then. And then I think we did one more gig at B flat. That was after the Double O Heaven, where it was just us, Ani and
Okay.
I. Then we realized, okay, maybe we should like start looking out for like the low end in the mix. We tried. I think Abhit is the first person like we tried, like we called, and like he also loved our music, and we also loved him. That also just worked. He wrote his bass parts for the songs that we had, and then yeah, and I guess the rest is history.
Yeah. The first album, I think we did the EP together.
Yep,
I
we did.
still remember, tracking you guys. And I used to tell many of my friends that, you were the few musicians who came so prepared for the recording sessions.
Oh man.
Because you were never lost. Even if we would do a retake, that was just to make sure that everything was right. It was not to change the melody because it didn't fit right. No, because you guys were so prepared. And I think it was all separate sessions. Ani
Yeah.
would come first, lay down his tracks, and then you would do your bit, and then Abit would come. And man, Abit, I think the bass lines in that EP is insane, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then you guys shot a video also
Of Wide Awake.
Wide
Yeah.
Awake. Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy. How many shows did you guys do together?
We did a lot of shows like in the first few years. I lost count, man, like to be honest. But we've done quite a few shows in those like first 3 years until like before the lockdown, I think. No, even after the lockdown, we did a couple of gigs. Yeah.
Okay, how was the COVID time for you as a musician not being able to perform anywhere, shows not happening, and of course shows is something that generates some kind of income.
Sure.
So how did you cope up with those 2 years?
To be honest, Dinkar, lockdown was pretty amazing for me.
Okay.
And because the whole world was on a break, and like suddenly like I also needed like I also need this mental space, just to deal with like whatever like is going on. And luckily for me, like the classes like took over. Like that's when I started doing online classes once lockdown happened. And before that, I used to go to a school and teach. And because like I was staying home and like I was working, like my income didn't really get affected. I was one of those lucky ones. The only thing that I missed though, like, was like playing live in front of a live audience, and that energy that you get, that whole, like, the magical thing that happens at gigs. Like, that's what was missing. But apart from that, I got a lot of time to practice uh, at home. And I remember that year specifically when the lockdown started. Just before that, like, we were very busy. Like, I was very busy, like, playing with like few different musicians and sessioning and, like, traveling. I didn't really have the time and space to just do my own practice. So in a way, it was very nice for me. And I also got to do a lot of different things, like different kind of work during the lockdown, like for example, like working on background score, or like learning how that works. And Yeah, we also did like one or two online gigs, which was not the same. But well, you gotta do what you
You
gotta
gotta do
do.
what you gotta do.
Yeah.
That's true. One kind of bands. I mean, I know that your first impression was Metallica and Linkin Park, but
Yeah.
listening to the way you play acoustic is something very different from what the music that you would listen. So, how did acoustic guitar become so unique with you, the way you play? So, any artist that you heard, or somebody that inspired you?
Of course, yeah, Tommy Emmanuel. Uh, like, he is one of my biggest inspirations, and he opened the door into fingerstyle guitar and a lot of these other players, like amazing players, like Chet Atkins, or Richard Smith, or like even Emil Earnebro. Like, a lot of these fingerstyle guitar players, I found through Tommy. And that really, like, captivated all of my attention the first time I watched him play the guitar or the acoustic. And one, his fingers have to be really strong to be able to, like, get such good clean sound out of it. And he's playing everything, and it was not just riffs or like melodies or just chords. Like, it was everything together, and it was just music. And that's kind of what I wanted to do, though. Like, in my own time, I just had an acoustic guitar. And like, at, let's say, when you go out, like, people ask you, they hand you a guitar, like, play something. As a guitar player who doesn't really sing, it's very awkward. And so, like, what I wanted to do was to find a way to be able to be content with what I can do, which is just guitar. And that really eluded me, man.
Okay.
Like, just like,
Were there any other instruments that you tried out during this process?
during the process of
Learning guitar. I mean, did
oh,
you think like, okay, should I be playing
no,
keyboards or?
not really, pa.
Okay.
Like, I've like I used to be the drummer for my college band.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's new.
Yeah. It happened because there were like 6 people in the room, 5 of them guitar players, and somebody had to be a drummer. So I was like, okay, guys, I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think, like, because after learning music theory, you just get a decent understanding of, like, how to play the keyboard, or like any instrument. If you just understand, okay, where the notes are, you kind of like figure out how to do it on the fly. But no, nothing. I didn't want to pursue anything as intensely as guitar.
When you compose, your guitar parts, where is that? You take a call like, yeah, this is what I was looking for, and you kind of stop ideating beyond that point.
Oh, that's a good question. Um, Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It usually doesn't happen in the first, like, attempt of you writing the song. Most of the times, what happens is you'll write it and you'll realize that's too much, and like you cut some stuff out. Uh, but I think like it's very important to understand what the song is trying to say and the story behind it, and that will usually tell you, like, okay, you don't need to emote so much here, or maybe you can just back off a little bit. Or if the lyric is saying something like very intense, maybe like add some colors to like what the words is saying. Like cinema of excess, for example, like when Anis, like when I'm writing my guitar parts for like for the band, I first I listen to what Ani's guitar is doing to just figure out what kind of harmonies I can play. And then I also listen to like what his vocal lines are doing to see where are my spaces. So I always make sure I don't play over somebody else, or like the vocal, the melody, the messages, that's the important thing. And I always try to like not get in its way. That's how you know, I guess. Like if you're playing something over somebody else, it's probably not, yeah, unless like you guys are doing something together and like it's sounding, it's just like a harmony thing that you're doing. But if it's not going well with it, then probably you're doing a little too much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you compose, say, your first piece or a set of, a music, do you make it a point to have someone listen to that and take some kind of pointers, or you're just okay? I think I'm good with this. This should be okay.
This is for my music or just like anything else?
In general,
In general, like, yeah, I mean, I will check with like the people that I'm working with, like if it, like, what do you think like of this, and stuff like that. Because like when you're working in a band, it's important that like all of you like share like the same
Correct.
like vision. You're just like helping to strengthen the vision. Very rarely there have been times like where I'm just like, no, only I guess only for my stuff, like I just don't like ask anybody. But if I'm working with somebody else, I make sure like everybody's happy.
Correct. So now, coming to your association with one of the recognized bands in the country, that is Parvaaz, how did you get into the band? What was the initial conversations like?
Khalid called me up one day, and it's out of the blue, and he was just like, "Hey, bro, how's it going? Like, long time. Like, I'm doing good." Like, he said that we are looking for like a new guitar player. Like, would you be interested? And I was like, "Okay, let's give it a shot." And like, it was just like a phone call, and like, I went and met these guys. They said like, "Come, let's meet. Like, let's chat." So I went and met these guys. It was a very nice conversation. We just generally spoke. They told me what's been going on and what they're planning to do with me, like how I can help, how I can come in and help out. So we had after we having that discussion, we um, zeroed in on a few songs for our first jam, and that's it. We met a week later. We jammed it out. Everybody felt the same thing. Like we all felt like, okay, there's something here, and yeah,
Okay.
that was kind of that.
Uh, so when you guys were jamming for the first time, I'm sure the guitar parts that you were playing were, and now when you play live, do you play the exact same thing, or is there some kind of change in the guitar parts that you play?
Well, most of the hooks, like all the the most memorable parts of the song, it's the same because that's what makes the song.
Correct.
And there have been certain things that I've added, like certain parts that were not necessarily like guitar parts, like that's in the actual recording. Um, like I've started like playing those as well. Like sure, there's definitely going to be some changes, because our playing styles are very different.
Correct.
But for me, that's the thing. Like, what is the main message of the song? What are the most memorable parts of this song? Like, what makes this song? It's Khalid singing and like his like the words that he's saying, and there are some really like memorable guitar parts that make the song because it's a very guitar-driven band. So I've kept all those parts the same because like people relate to that.
Okay.
And yeah, but there are like some parts like over time we do like in some sections we do improvise just to keep it interesting for us as well. Like we change the sections up a bit. So yeah.
Okay. And comparing Cinema of X's and Parvaz, they are two differently sounding bands, correct?
Yeah.
So how comfortable were you when you had to get into Parvaz's sound?
It was like strangely familiar, Dinkar, because just before Cinema of Excess, this was I think right after I graduated. I took a year off and I was working on like some music of my own where I was just doing, like programming drums, like, recording all bits myself. And I used to make music which is kind of similar to like in the same, not similar, but like in the same zone as like Parvaaz, meaning our influences were the same um, around that point. So for me, when like, when this was happening, I was like, okay, I'm familiar with these sounds. Like I can do this, like, because I used to do this before. And so for me, it felt like something has been reignited again. And being in a band playing electric guitar, I hadn't done that. Like before Parvaz, I hadn't had a band of my own. Like the the first band after that, after 2015, Parvaz is like the next band when I'm playing the electric guitar and like a full rock band.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was very exciting, and yeah, it was very nice, man. It was like home.
That's great.
Yeah.
What is your setup like for Parvaz right now?
So for Parvaz, I play my PRS Custom 24, and for my effects and everything, I use Line 6 Pod ST500X. Um, Recently, I've started throwing in Max on SD9 before that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Are you somebody who's crazy about amps?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Uh, I really love the amps in the studio settings, but not so much for the live setting. Like, I mean, I need an amp to play and to make like to get that feeling,
Yeah.
right? I do use an amp, but I don't really mic the amp on stage. But in this, when I'm recording, like doing albums and stuff, man, amps, yes.
Nice. So I think Parvaz is on its way to, recording the third album, studio album, right?
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit of that? What is happening? How many songs?
Sure. Like we just finished track. I think most of the tracking is done
Oh,
by
great.
now. Just have a like very little bit of work to do, and then like we are in the mixing phase. So yes, this is going to be the third studio album for Parvaz, like first one with me in it. Um, I think this has like 7, 8, 9 songs,
Lovely.
something like that.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, it's been fun, man. Like it's been fun doing this album with these guys. Um, like experimented a lot with the amps
Okay.
because like studio setting. Uh, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. We've also been playing a couple of these songs live. So if you're somebody who's watched us live in the recent past, you may have heard one or two songs already.
What was the writing process here? The third album was, sometimes there are possibilities that I think Khalid writes most of it.
The lyrics,
The lyrics,
yes,
yes.
yes.
So there might be a possibility that he would have written it earlier,
Uh-huh.
or was it that when you came and you guys decided, okay, third album is something that we need to focus on, and that's when the writing process began?
So for us, I think it's safe to say the music came first for the whole album. The way we wrote it, also, we got into the jam room and we just start jamming. Like we put the recorder on and we just jam. We did that for a while, and the first song we wrote also came out just because like we were just like, hey, play a riff, and I just played a riff. Sachin joined in and these guys joined in, and just like, that's cool, let's, like, that can be a song. Like we saw potential in that, so it was all of these things came out of jams. There are a couple of things that Khalid had already written, like some like very cool like guitar parts, like picking parts. I remember going through a few of them, and like, we were just like, that sounds good. Like, let's try that in the jam room. So the music always came together, all four of us together. We just like jammed, experimented. We were just like, hey, okay, maybe after this we'll go into this like B section with like, we'll have a chord change over here. And Khalid is just singing like in ahs and oohs and like just, like working out the melody. And he's just like saying some things like, in certain pockets so that he gets the melody idea. And then later he worked out the words for the
Okay.
album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's mixing the album? I'm so curious. Is it something not to be talked about?
Maybe not.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, any timelines of when the album is going to be released?
Oh man, don't hold me responsible, guys. Soon.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Looking forward to it. Great. Great. So, as a musician, you have your highs and lows.
Hmm.
Generally, as a human being,
Yeah.
how, being a musician, how do you cope up with these? How do you keep your life balanced?
Oh man, that's a really good question. It does get pretty crazy sometimes, like when you're just like continuously, like when you have to travel, or like you finish traveling, come back, and then you have a bunch of classes to do immediately the next day, and like the next 4 days are filled with classes and like house responsibility. Again, you have to travel. Yeah, it can get a bit too much. I think it's really important to find that one thing which you can do every day, which will kind of anchor you. And I've like made it a point to practice that for the last few years. It could be anything, like it could be like going for a walk, or it could be like doing anything like doing something physical, basically, to make sure your body is in check. And for me, that is like just going into the gym and like spending those 2 hours there with nothing, like nothing else bothering me, just like that whatever shitty gym music. Like sorry guys, but it's, man, like it's the same song on repeat for the fourth fucking time. So can get a little like,
Yeah.
anyway. But it's important that you find like some time to put in every day to like just anchor yourself, and find something that to take out all that frustration that you have, all that sort of energy. Like it just once you give a way of letting these things out, feel like life can be chill, dude. Like it's the first thing, one of the first things that I do is like go into the gym and like get in a workout. Like doing that prepares me for the rest of the day, because you're kind of already doing like the hardest thing that you have to do or whatever, like in the morning, or you're really sweating it out. Makes it feel like the rest of the day is like chill, like your body hurts a lot less after like sitting for like 5 hours straight for like doing classes. um so like that, it's just finding like you time and giving that time to you, like to yourself.
Okay. Now, coming to live performances, what is the mindset you go in as a musician? And sometimes the crowd can be not so disciplined. Have you faced something like that?
Not so. I mean, sure, I guess. I can't really like point a finger that way, although one show is like coming to my mind.
Okay.
Well, mindset for a gig, I just try to clear my head and like, do a lot of these vocal warm-ups. Like now I have to do that because like it's kind of hard to keep up with Khalid.
He's a
Yeah,
fantastic
even
singer.
doing backing vocals. um, so I just do that a lot, and like not much. There's yeah, no, I don't drink or smoke like before going on stage. I'm like I need to be sober, and I drink lots of water. I make sure like my stomach is not like grumbling before the game. I just eat a little bit, like just feel good basically,
Got it.
and then like just go on stage. Like once I remember this was a gig in Gurgaon. The it was like late in the night also, like Gurgaon gigs, like they start only like pretty late. So it was like what, 12:30, 1 o'clock. It was the last song of the set. You know how most bands do, like, hey, last song, and like we play the song, everybody goes, oh, encore, one more. Like it's a real thing now. So like we thought we do that sometimes, or and sometimes we just don't. We'll just want to, like, we'll be so tired, we'll be so done. We just want to, like, okay, finish the gig and go. I think this one gig, I'm not sure if you plan to do that or not. We finished, and this one guy really wanted us to play Kufiya Dasta. And he's screaming, he's shouting, and he's also like really like tall and like big. And so head is actually popping out from the crowd. You can clearly see, and he's right here. Okay. And he goes like, Kufiya Dasta, Kufiya Dasta. And Khalid and I got scared, man. Like we looked at each other. We didn't do the walk off, nothing. We're just like, okay, pick up your guitars. Let's just play this. Let's just go. And but he was nice. After the show, he came and he was just like, thank you for playing. And he was nice after this. But sometimes crowd do get like wild, man. And it's nice. Sometimes that's what you want. So
Yeah.
that's when you play like some heavy songs.
A show with the Parvaaz that is really hit, uh, a place in your heart, like something that went completely. I mean, you have a certain expectations generally, but that one particular show that kind of like, wow, this is insane. Like, I'm just glad I'm here right now. What any show that comes to your mind?
Oh man, yeah, dude, like quite a few actually. Off the top of my head, recently we played Zero in Arunachal Pradesh. Man, that was so beautiful. And it felt like that. Like we finished sound check and we were just standing, like just watching all the greenery and the mountains and like you're in the valley, right? Zero Valley. So you're watching what's going on around you. And like at that point, I was just like, this is beautiful. I was far away from the city. It's so quiet and it's so green, and everybody was being like very mindful and like clean, and like they were not littering. So it felt really nice. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, well, thank you.
Yeah, and
You
I
know?
think it's so nice that uh, people from Northeast
Yeah.
are curating amazing gigs, and
Yeah.
many musicians have told me that they loved how everything was set up. People were nice
Yeah.
and good listeners. The crowd was,
Yeah.
very engaging in terms of them listening to whatever you play,
Yeah.
and less demanding as such, because it was they've just come to enjoy. And I think that that kind of audience also may, gives you an impression, okay, this is worth playing. Sometimes you get into a space where audience has, I don't know if it's happened with Parvaz, uh, but with other bands, suddenly they come into, can you play this Bollywood song, or can you play this
Yeah.
Arijit Singh song, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that does not happen there, I believe.
With Parvaz, yeah, no. They want us to play like the really famous ones, the really like the oldies. Songs that like these guys have been playing for the last 10, 12 years again and again and again and again and again. Like I love it. I love playing it. But I can understand these guys have been playing it for so long.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, the crowd also like, loves these songs. So we mostly get requests for like that. Yeah.
Okay. Recently, we had Prakash Sontake sir, the slide guitarist.
Oh yeah, I did watch that
And
episode. Yeah.
yeah, and he told me that as a musician, uh, we have to somehow play what people want, especially the solos, And but as a musician, he was telling me that he would like to change few things here and there,
Yeah.
just so that he's excited about it.
Yeah.
Not that he does not want to play in general sense, but then he was like, sometimes, when you do those changes, and that is what people kind of pointed out, you played this differently. Why?
Yeah.
That happens. And has that happened with you, something like that?
Sure. Dude, I think I've changed like most of the solos like in Parvaz when I've come in. One because like it's me.
Yeah.
Like there is no other better way to put it. Like sure, there are something, like I said, there are some hooks that I don't change, but then there are other things, man. Like yeah, and then I'm also not very rigid on those things, because sometimes I also just let just let it flow through the gig. I don't really plan so much. Some gigs, there have been times where I'll just go somewhere else in that place, like depending on the gig. And like we do that. Parvaz thrives on that. Like Khalid also, when he's feeling it, like he'll also sing like in a slightly different way. Like he'll emote differently, and like we are okay with it, and like people are used to it, because our live renditions of like our own songs are usually different. Like there's like some there are some extra things going on here and there. We always try to do something a little different, because live, sure, people would love to listen to the way like what the actual music sounds like. But also, guys, like you can just listen to the recorded music if you want that. But for live, for us, it's more of an experience. When you're watching a band live, like it's something else. Like you want to see that magic happen. You want to see what is this venue and these people are going to, like, how is this going to influence the artist tonight. And I feel like that's a really beautiful thing, like when we are playing, because you never know sometimes, like if you're going to extend 2 minutes here or if you're going to just like go to the next section there.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story. So what happened is when I was, performing with Suraj and Naveen and John with the Tatva trip.
Yeah.
We were playing broken, but we were not playing broken as a 5/4.
Mm.
We were playing a 3/4.
Right.
And so it was Baiju's solo, and Baiju's solos are crazy. And Naveen, being the amazing guitarist, he also wanted to do something different. And this happened in a live show. And we were playing in Trivandrum, and the solo came in, and something happened to Naveen. He just went crazy, and that solo that he played that night live, and it was not recorded. It was not a recording session. He just played it live, and that became the solo until we disbanded. So it was the solo that was played entirely for, I think, the next 2 years that we played.
Yeah.
And it just came from somewhere. And I've always asked Naveen, I was like, what was that? Because that gig, what happened is we landed in Trivandrum, but our instruments were not there.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, then.
So I usually play a 4-string bass, but that night it was 5-string. Somehow I adjusted myself to that.
Okay.
And Naveen was playing Rex Vision's rig, basically. Okay. So, Naveen was like, I think it just felt right. And it was not, we had never rehearsed that solo.
Wow.
He had never, it just came, and that became the solo. And I think live sometimes can give you some amazing stuff that you
man.
never thought would,
Yeah.
come.
But you have to like allow for it. You can't be too rigid.
Exactly.
And you have to just be okay with it.
Yeah. And I think whenever we perform with Suraj, he used to be like, just enjoy your game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say more. So yeah, I think that's, when you mention that things becoming something in the live show, I think it is one of those, things.
Yeah.
Great.
I think all the solos that I play right now also, like, it came out of like improvisation, like in jams or something. While we are rehearsing, like I'll just take a solo, and that would be the initial idea. Especially for some of the songs where I've changed the solos, or like some of these like songs which are more like jam based stuff. I get most of the ideas from like improvising and like that initial recording. I'm like, okay, this bit is good, this bit is good. So I'm gonna use this hook, this hook, this hook, and just join them, and like improvise in between, but then like let the band know when I play this, we are ending, and then like do the rest of the song, and like have like that open level of communication. Let them know you're doing this also. That also helps. But yeah, you gotta allow for that, man. I feel
Correct.
like.
Amazing. So now, we'll talk about some things that may sound controversial.
Ooh, the fun stuff.
One of the reasons why the scene has gone down, for me personally, I feel, and you are most welcome to correct it, is that I think covers are killing the scene or the musicians. The original songs, so many good musicians are getting into covers, which is unfortunate, and I feel bad for it. And I do understand what the musicians go through. How do you think that we can solve this? You being, somebody who's not played much with cover bands, I don't know if you even have. I mean, forget the college days; that's different. But then
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can
I've
you-
had my like fair share of like playing covers, like doing session gigs, just until like 2020, I think. And even like recently, like I did play a couple of gigs in the last couple of years. Like, but these have been like gigs where they're friends of mine who've called and who've said like, hey, the guitarist is not available. Like, would you be willing to like fill in for this? Like, it's a last moment thing. So yeah, I went ahead and did that. Um, but I've played my fair share of covers,
But I
man.
think that is still a different scenario where you're just helping out a band to fill a certain space.
Sure.
When I say a cover, what I mean by that is like the tributes are happening right now.
Right.
You know, okay, great, tributes are great, but how often would you want to keep doing the tributes? And
Mm.
this is how I feel, that when you take somebody else's song
Yeah.
and play it and you make money out of it,
Yeah.
do you feel, do you not feel that, when I say do you, it's general, that you probably should pay the band as well, pay the original artist for using their song? I mean, this is what I think.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yes, what you're saying definitely makes sense. Um, the sad reality is like right now, the like you gotta do what you gotta do for money, man. And I understand though. Um, I also think that even when Cinema of Excess was happening pre-pandemic, there were more venues where we could play independent
Yeah,
music. Right now, uh, I can't think of any, like I can't think of a lot of venues where like
absolutely.
small bands can also like play. Like they expect you to like fill at least like 150 to 200
I've
people
heard
even
about it.
before, like, or sometimes I've heard like they've canceled shows because
Yes.
of like less ticket sales,
Yeah.
which kind of sucks for the artist. So it doesn't leave them a lot of choice, like in terms of what you can do. Like, but like covers, they attract people,
Yeah.
and people want to come sing, like get drunk, sing, like just enjoy, like have a good time.
Mm.
And it's a gig, man. For musicians, it's a gig, and like some people are
Absolutely.
like perfectly happy doing that.
Mm.
And if you're one of them, like I'm very happy for you. Like if you found the thing that,
Makes
eh,
you happy.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you're content with it, then great. Like it's working for you, then
Hmm.
yeah. But for the scene in general, it is pretty sad because I feel like there were more avenues for singer songwriters or like even budding bands,
Yeah.
for example, people who are just starting out. That is not there anymore. I feel like there are all there are all venues which will either hold very less number of people or very large number of people. I feel like there is nothing in between. Like for, yeah,
Mm.
I think that's what it is. I could be wrong. Also, um, yeah, it's from
Yeah.
my limited knowledge.
But when you teach your students, this is something I had asked Melvin as well.
Hmm.
Do you teach songs from the independent scene?
Sure. Yeah.
Great.
Like sometimes like students have asked me for it,
Okay.
and that makes me really happy. So yeah, 100%.
That's great. I'm so happy to know that, because I feel, uh, I think, not that the other songs are bad.
Mm.
Maybe I'm too focused on. See, I got into the scene in 2013,
Hmm.
and back during that time, I knew Bollywood. I knew some Tamil, Kannada, film music only.
Mm.
When I came to Bangalore and I realized that, okay, especially we started going to B flat quite often,
Yeah,
because that was the place.
correct.
And I found amazing artists, like
Mm.
really good musicians, good songs, right?
Yeah.
And and I think I want to hear more of it. And another thing is the experience I felt, I would
Mm.
like to share it with the rest of the guys and say,
Mm.
listen to this, and don't go with any expectation, but have a listen to it and see what it does to you. It, for me, it did magic. And the reason for me to start all of this
Mm-hmm.
is just that there is amazing stuff out there and you have to check it out.
Mm.
Then you take a call, but don't take a call before even listening to it or experiencing it,
Mm.
right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's where I come from, and that is why I'm like, you guys play covers, that's fine, but also make sure that you do listen to these amazing artists that's out there. Not just in Bangalore, there are so
Yeah.
many artists out there. Like, we've been talking about artists on our Insta page, and
Mm-hmm.
of course we cannot just randomly take some band and post. No, we do have to do our homework, listen to it if it's good or not, because there are few bands whose songs are good but mix isn't, and that
Yeah.
is a red flag. I
Right.
cannot promote saying, because they will say this doesn't sound good, bro.
Mm.
So we also do that kind of research, and that is when I've come across so many amazing bands, at least from Bangalore, Chennai, and now Bombay is something that we're focusing on. Amazing indie bands.
Yeah,
So,
man.
I just hope that the scene grows so that we have more and more live shows,
Yeah, man.
and it
I hope so
gives,
too.
and I think it's a creative space.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to. Indie is what you have no labels backing you. That is the basic meaning of independent bands, that you don't have a big label backing you. There's no pressure. You can still experiment and make some good, and maybe somebody will see something in you and they're like, okay, you know what, we see a lot of potential in you. So I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
do original. Somebody's going to find you, I feel.
Yeah. If no one's gonna find you, you're gonna find yourself when you write, when you like put your emotions and everything into like a thing, and when you put your vulnerability into the thing. And I feel like that's kind of how you also like, oh, this is who I am. I write stuff like this.
And I think it's a great space that if you have found yourself,
Yeah.
right? Because in general, this might be a little philosophical, and this has never happened in this show, but
Come on.
finding yourself and being at peace, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do because
Yeah.
it's making me happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's fine, because if you are happy, then everything around you becomes good. If you are stressed,
Yeah,
then
man.
you start blaming around or complaining.
Yeah.
So how can I say it? Okay, if Bharat is not doing any music, what does Bharat do?
Oh man. Like, let's say music is not a part of the life.
No,
Oh.
music is a part of your life, but
Oh, what do I do in my free time?
yeah.
Bro, what free time? Like, I have to clean the house, I have to cook, I have to do like the maid's job, the cook's job, all the other things are there. And man, no free time.
Okay.
There is barely any time to like practice. So I've turned all my meal times into like times when I actually study, and when I'm like exploring more new music. And like whatever little time I get, I just pick up my guitar and practice, dude. But otherwise, no. I'm really bad at like taking holidays.
Okay.
Like I can't sit through a whole movie. It's what I've realized off late, because in the last month I've tried to watch movies and never been able to like sit for 2 hours without getting up and like having to do something. So yeah, no. Somebody needs to teach me how to take a break.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. So coming to any international bands that you would want to be a part of?
Ooh. I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I would like to make Parvaaz international.
Amazing. Yes.
That would be the best case scenario. I don't have to learn like a whole new bunch of songs. But no, okay. Let's think about this. Uh, oh man, nope. I'm blanking out. Wolfpack. I think Wolfpack would be like a great like fun band to play with. Like I like when I'm playing like guitar, I really like the fun, high energy, like funk stuff also. Like maybe like I can get that thing ticked off the list of one of those things to do, like playing a funk band.
Okay.
So I think Wolfpack would be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Could you name your favorite indie bands apart from Parvaz and Cinema?
Sure. Like I love Blackstrap Blues.
Oh, yeah.
And like there are a lot of artists, like I'm gonna start telling you now. Okay, wait. Let's start like people from Bangalore. I really like Mahesh's music, Mahesh
Yes.
Raghunandan. He's
Amazing.
an incredible singer. I also like like Thermal Underwater, like good friends of mine, and like they've been like in the scene for so long. They also like the Tark is like, I was trying to put Tark in a box, and I realized I can't, because Tark is Tark. Like they don't have, like, you can't really define them as like they do this one thing. So I really like Tark. Then like Raman's been writing. I recently listened to Raman Negi's like new album that he's just put out. And I was very happy about that also, and it's sounding really nice. And I'm actually looking forward to like seeing his 4-piece and the new album stuff, like being played live. Who else? Who else? There's a lot of artists, Dinkar. I check out a lot of like bands. Very hard to pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I also really like Advaita. I also really like what's the name of this band from Shillong? The blues guitar player. Come on, Rudy.
Rudy.
Rudy's the guitar player.
Okay.
I'm
Not able
blanking out.
to recollect, but
Yeah, sorry guys, blanking out on a lot of names, but you know who I'm talking about.
yeah.
Um,
We'll probably put a link for you. Not worry. We'll discuss post this.
yes, yeah. So many artists, Dinkar, like Karshni. She's a great singer songwriter that I like happen to like meet, and then like yeah. Do you want me to still keep going on?
No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, yeah, I just
Thanks.
wanted, the audience to know more. Okay,
Yes.
cool. So Bharat, an audience interaction that happened with you that made you feel like, okay, I'm just glad I'm doing this, or even a fan. I mean, or a budding guitarist.
There's been a few. I can't like point a finger to it, but I feel like mostly after every gigs, there are these like sometimes at festivals, there's little kids that come up to me and say like, "Hey, that was really cool. I want to be like you one day." And
Wow.
there was this one really cool kid that came. That was around Independence Rock, I think last year. He came and he said like he said very sweet things, and he gave me like one card and he gave me like one pick. It's like here. That was like very cool, because usually whenever fans come, they're like, "Can we have your pick?" But this kid is giving me a pick. It's like, okay, man, I'm gonna take it. I still have it. I remember
Wow.
that. That was very sweet.
It is. It is.
Yeah, like people have sent me like really sweet messages, and like man, like all these things, like some guys have like even like written some very sweet messages and like given some gifts and stuff like after gigs, like saying how they had a great time, and how they got in touch with their emotions during the show and like stuff like that. That's always like that's a
Yeah.
green signal. I was
Yeah. It
like, yeah, you're
pushes
doing the
you.
right thing, man.
Yeah, it pushes you the right way as well.
Yeah,
You get inspired from.
absolutely. It makes you want to be like better,
Yeah.
and that's I feel like, yeah,
Okay.
it's very nice things.
All right. Yeah, Bharat. So we have few questions for you.
Okay.
And it's not exactly a rapid fire, but
Okay.
it's up to you how you answer it. Okay. No pressure.
Sweet. Thank
Okay.
you.
Cool. So, a show that changed your life.
Show that changed my life. A show that I've watched.
Yeah.
Show that I've watched. Oh, Metallica, dude. Of course. Like that was my first ever live gig experience, also. So
Okay.
when they came
Which
here,
year was this? 2011? Was it 11?
2011, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
2011.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Metallica. Favorite genre?
Favorite genre. Oh, see, I can't choose one. Yeah.
Everything is.
It's just, yeah, I can't do it. Like I play fingerstyle guitar and like prog music, like can't do it.
Okay.
Like
Cool.
everything, I love it.
Okay. Cool. Favorite singer?
Favorite singer.
Or singers?
Singers.
That's right.
This is like from the indie music scene, or like just
General,
favorite
whatever
singer?
you like.
Just general. Oh.
You can pick. You can pick. You can say, okay, indie, I like this person.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I really like Khaled's voice. I think he's truly gifted, and I have no idea how, like, he sounds so incredible. Like I'm always in awe, even though like I play with him. So I think he's got
I
a
think
kick-ass
Khalid,
voice.
the texture, it's something.
Unlike
it's something.
anybody else that I've heard before. So I feel like, yeah, I think he takes the cake in this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. Favorite musician. Now, this need not be a guitarist. Any other musician that you really admire?
Favorite musician. There are a few, sure. Like Warren is one of them. Like I really admire him for like it's the things that he's doing, that he's like the music that he's doing, and like his knowledge like on things like it's
Agreed.
insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like he's like a very knowledgeable like musician in terms
Yeah.
of like sound, and he's really got his stuff together. Yeah.
Agreed. Okay. A tricky one. When is Cinema of Excess making more music?
Well, I'm not sure, Dinkar.
It's heartbreaking, but okay.
Our music's also like pretty much about heartbreaks and stuff. So yes, you have to go through the initial heartbreak to write about it. So it's heartbreaking for us also right now. But no, like we do have like more music that we've already worked on, Ani and I. Like, but we are all doing it behind the scenes, and like this is after the last EP that we released, Rooftops. There are more songs that have been like birthed. But when will it see the light of the day? We don't know.
Okay.
We shall find out.
Yes. Ani, if you start picking my calls, it'll be great. You will respond to me like 2 days after, Macha. Sorry, I forgot to call you back. So we'll talk about this. Anyways, your favorite guitar and why?
My favorite guitar.
Yes.
Ooh. And why? I like the guitars that I play, and I just use these two guitars. I use the Chord Earth Grand for the acoustic, and I use my PRS Custom for the electric. I really love those, and those are the only two like guitars that I use. So I would say like that. Why? Because like it helps me express like whatever I want to express like very nicely. PRS is very versatile, and well, Chord. I got really lucky with the piece that I got, like the Earth Grand, plays beautifully, and like it sounds really nice. So yeah.
Okay. So what is next with Bharat, the future? What does it look like?
Next, I would say new album with Parvaaz. That's what I think 2025 is going to be like. Maybe we'll do a tour, and yeah, like the near future, I think that's what looks like. Album and tour and the things that follow the new
Yes.
album launch. Like that's mostly what I'm looking forward to
Okay.
right now.
And I'm gonna pressurize him and Cinema of Excess.
And Cinema of Excess, yes. Yes. But like, yes, it's not just me you have to pressurize.
Yeah, I
You
will.
also have to like
On
call
it.
Abit, call Ani, and yeah. Call out Abit, Anirudh.
Yes. Anyways, so thank you so much, Bharat, for doing the show with us. We
You're
are so
most
happy to have you with us.
You're most welcome.
And,
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I've been one of your biggest fans, and I love the way you play your music, and recording the EP is one of my favorite memories
Oh
of
man.
the tracking and the
Of
whole.
mine too. It was so nice. It was
Yeah,
so
it was
nice.
so good, and it was so organic. There was
Yeah.
nothing else. There was just music, music, music.
Yeah.
So yeah, so thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, Dinkar. It's a pleasure.
Right. And that was the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, and press the bell icon. We will see you in the next episode. Bye.